Hi everyone, it's Feature Friday time, and I'm very excited because it's going. We had a lack of Feature Friday people last week, but this week we're rocking the show again, and I am excited to have Mike with me today. He is the bemused backpacker and has 15 years of traveling on his shoulders and over 100 countries under his belt. So he's not only a successful traveler, but also uses all his travel knowledge and the experiences he's gathered on his blog, the Bemused Backpacker, and obviously also on social media. So today I want to talk to him about how he uses social media for his branding and what he thinks about being professional in on the social platforms. And I'm sure he has a lot of knowledge to share. And as soon as he comes online and sees that I'm actually live, I will get him into the video. I will use quickly this moment because Mike is still not watching. So I would like to encourage those of you who are watching today to think about a topic that you could maybe come up with and share with the group members, just like Mike today and all the others before him during our Feature Friday. It's such a cool thing, and I know many of you are savvy social media users. Don't be scared. You don't have to be an expert. Feature Friday is all about being featured in this group, and this is a chance to promote you, obviously. But not only this, but you can use it to share your knowledge. Also, you can use this to simply have a topic discussed with me. So if you want to talk about something that you don't feel as comfortable with, and you have many questions, and I feel comfortable enough to talk about it, then we can make a Feature Friday topic out of it. So please DM me, send me a message, or comment below, and then we can set something up. So I see Mike is watching now. So either I can add you. Hang on. I said it is very easy to get you in, and now I don't see the option to bring you in. Yes, there is Mike. I'm adding you now, and matter of a few seconds, and then we can dive into the topic. Adding Mike, and there he is. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm good.
All good? Perfect. So, Mike, I already announced you as the big traveler, over 15 years of traveling and more than 100 countries. And obviously, you run a very successful blog, the Bemused Backpacker. And yes, so this is very impressive, but we won't talk about your success too much today. All we want to hear from you today is how you use social media to actually get your brand out there and what you actually do. So, yeah. So I'll give you the word now. So this was many questions already.
Yeah,
It's your word.
that's a lot of questions in one. I think,
Sorry.
um, I mean, branding in general is essential to what I do, to what we do as professional travel bloggers. It's a lot of what separates a professional travel blogger from just another WordPress blog. It's what creates our business, our brand identity. It is essential, and that goes through every part of the business, from the platform itself right through to social media. And except I'm a bit different than a lot of bloggers because I don't see um, social media as a platform in and of itself. I see it as um, part of a whole system. My A lot of my concentration is on the website, the platform itself. The social media is just the mouthpiece of that brand. It's um, it's it it's not a platform in and of itself, and that's a big mistake I do see a lot of bloggers make, especially I think on Instagram, where they put all of their efforts onto that platform, and it's like building a castle on very unstable sand because um, those platforms, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, they can. It's their platform.
Clear.
They can do what they want when they want, and they can
Mm,
completely rip everything out from under you whenever they want as well. So they are an important tool, but they are just a tool, and it's about um, making social media a part of your whole brand identity, not just concentrating on one platform.
so how do you use social media then for your brand?
Like I said, I tend to think of social media as in two parts. In part as like a shop window to my website, to what I'm doing there, the products I'm selling, the services I'm giving to my
Mhm,
audience, the articles I'm writing, the videos I'm putting out there. It's it's sort of a shop window for people to see what I'm doing, then come over to my platform through that. Um, and it's also a mouthpiece as well. It's how I talk to my audience. Um, so I use social media to engage with the people who are reading and viewing my work. So even though I'd say most of my engagement is on the website itself,
mhm,
I do use social media primarily for that, especially I think on Twitter. Twitter's a huge one for me, just for chatting to people and chatting to my readers. It's a great platform for that. And I think that is what, in essence, social media is and should be about. And I think it's a huge uh, that communication is a huge part of building your audience, your target audience. And once you've got that audience of loyal, engaged readers who are there to see your work and hear your voice, it's only
mhm,
then that you can use that audience and use that social branding that you've got to hold and retain them as a captive audience in a sales funnel. So it's only after you've done the social side of it, you've got the audience there for um, just to be part of what you're doing, then you
mhm,
can do the sales side of it. And I think far too many people try and jump to the sales side far too quickly, and
mhm,
that's a bit of a mistake because social media, it's not just about the sales. It's not just about getting people through that sales funnel. It's about the conversation. It's about connecting to your audience, and that's what I use it for.
mhm. And what methods do you use to engage with your audience and how do you engage with them?
Oh,
You said Twitter, but
well, yeah. I mean, the platforms themselves. I mean, my big platforms are Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest to an
mhm.
extent. Probably the only travel blogger who isn't on Instagram at all. Um, I
Okay.
can't stand it. I just don't like it as a platform. Um, so I'm not on it. But in terms of methods, I think first I know my audience very well. I know who they are. I know why they come to me. I know why they read my stuff and
Mhm,
watch my videos. So I think in terms of um, the methods I use to engage with them, I think that's the fundamental key to it is knowing who they are and what they want.
mhm,
So then I can give them what they want. So in terms of like practical steps, I do things like uh, I look on Twitter, and if I want to put out a post on, say, travel health or travel vaccinations, I might look at
mhm,
conversations that are happening on social media around travel vaccinations. I'll look at news articles that have come out about travel vaccinations. Then I'll go and comment on them on social media. I'll go and talk, be a part of that conversation, and that creates helps create my authority in that field as well, because people who wouldn't necessarily come to my blog but have gone to that social media um, chat on Twitter or that news report on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, they'll see my contribution to that conversation, then engagement with me there, and then I can bring them over to my site as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of little tips and tricks that you can use to engage with people in different ways, but the key always falls back on knowing who they are and what they want from you.
Okay, yeah. So you're fishing them outside mainly, and then you bring them on your platforms.
That's part of it, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, and then
Yeah.
you've got to keep the people who actually do come to your platform as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
Me
bit of
too.
both.
Okay. Well, then speaking of tips, do you have any tips to for the others? How can you be consistent on social media? Um,
Um, Being consistent on social media, it's all about your branding. Um, it's about there's three basic principles um, of being consistent, I think, and one of them is brand identity. It's going back to understanding your audience as well, and the content you put out there. So, in terms of brand identity, you've got to think on a visual point of view. You have to be consistent across every single platform. The
mm,
branding that you've put on your blog or your website, from the logo to the colors, the fonts, um, even your mission statement, it has to be the same on every single platform. I mean, you look at the biggest brands out there like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, their branding is on point on every single platform that they're on the websites, on their logos, on their products. It's the
mm,
same colors, the same logo, the same everything. And the brand messages that they're putting out there are the same across them all as well. And it's the same with me. And I think a big part of that as well is finding your own voice um,
mhm,
on each platform. So, and that's going to be different for everyone. It's not an easy thing to do. It does take time and it takes a bit of trial and error. But finding your voice, um, knowing who you are as a brand, knowing what message you want to send out there, and then sending that message consistently across every single platform. That's key. And again, that comes back into knowing your audience and knowing what they want from you. So you give them that on every single platform, from your blog to Twitter to Facebook, whatever platform you're on, you're giving that consistent message to your audience at each and every turn. And it's all about the content you put out as well, um, because it has to be. I like to think of it like the right content, the right message, and the right platform, because
mm,
every platform is different. So you're not going to put the same content out on different platforms. I'll use Facebook very differently than the way I'll use Twitter. I'll use Twitter very
mm,
differently from the way I'll use Pinterest, because they are very different platforms. And even though the brand message is the same, the visual branding is the same, the actual content that you're putting out will be very different, and it'll be tailored to each platform and tailored to the way your audience use that platform as well, because um, what works for one person on one specific platform might not work for another one, because they'll have slightly different audiences. So
mhm.
it's all about trying to remain consistent on each one and putting that right content out at the right time, constantly, with the right branding.
Mhm. Okay. Um, just something that occurred to me, and how do you have something like a schedule, or so that you say or do you simply post whenever you come up with a new topic, according to the news you read, like the from the example with the vaccinate?
It's a bit of both. I do have a schedule, I'll have, like for example, every Monday I put out a new article. That's been consistent for the past 6 years, every single Monday without fail. Every Friday I'm starting to put out a video because I'm just moving over into video as well. So eventually that will be every single Friday every week. Um, and I'm playing around with that a little bit at the moment, trying to see what the best time is for my audience and everything else. But it will be consistent, and the same on social media. So as soon as my one of my articles goes out, it's promoted on social media. But then at the same time, I'll promote it randomly as well through the week. I'll just chat in general on Twitter through the week, or I'll put up a photo on Wednesday on Facebook, whatever it might be. So I do have a schedule, but I
Mm.
also have that time where I'm just engaging with my audience and asking them
Yeah.
questions, seeing what they want, answering their questions as well.
Yeah, I think that's very important just to be able to even maintain that consistency also for your own yeah
Yeah, and
s-
I think as
in
part of that, scheduling helps a lot because you know yourself, maintaining a website and then maintaining each and every platform and social media takes up a ton
mm,
of time. It it's a full-time job in and of itself, really. So I think if you schedule the posts that you put out in advance and then you schedule some social media, that frees you up then to um, do the social side of it, the engagement side of it, and engage in those conversations, knowing that your content's going out consistently. Um,
mm,
it just takes that huge weight off your shoulders and you can just engage and enjoy the conversation with your audience then.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll have a final question for you. What would be a tip like for or the most important thing to keep in mind when building your brand on social media? I mean, you already said it a little bit, but like a
Yeah, I
final
think
word.
like I said, that building your brand, it's all about maintaining that same voice, that same message, that same visual branding.
Mm,
Um, you've got to build that, but there's um, a larger aspect to it as well, where once you've got that brand, you have to maintain the same voice
mm-hmm,
throughout all of it, all of the time. Like for example, um, my site is all about gap year travel and independent travel. So even though that has small sub niches within it of like travel health, travel safety, things that really are part of gap year travel. Um,
mm-hmm,
Everything that I talk about will be around that central theme. Um, every post that I put out there will be about gap year travel, independent travel, travel health, travel safety. All the conversations that I have will be around those topics. And I
yeah.
think one thing I see a lot of people do, which makes me cringe a little bit, is they go off topic so much, and it it's just very confusing for any audience who wants to engage with them. Um,
Mm-hmm,
so for example, um, like I said, all of my content, all of my conversations will be about my brand, my um, about gap year travel, about independent travel. I won't go off on a tangent and start talking about politics or any other
mm,
passion that I might. I mean, I've got tons of hobbies and passions. I'm passionate about martial arts. I'm passionate about um, geeky stuff as well, you know. But I'm not going to go onto Twitter and
yeah.
start ranting about Star Trek or Brexit or anything else. It's going to be consistently about my message all of the time, my brand message, and it is hard. It's difficult because you know you're going on social media, you see all these things pop up, and you might want to just send a quick reply about whatever interests you, but
Mm,
that's your brand, that's your business
mm,
platform that you're using. That's not your personal. brand. People don't care about what you think about a topic that's completely off topic from what your brand is. They're there to listen to you about your brand message. So give them that. And again, it's
Mhm.
a big part of that as well is being professional on social media. And I think that is really important. Um, because again, this is something that I see quite a lot where I've seen people get into Twitter spats. I've seen people send really unprofessional messages to various brands, um, and it just makes you look so bad if you do that. I mean, there is a little bit of wriggle room there to talk to brands. I mean, I love trolling Ryanair because it is a god awful airline. So when they put a tweet out saying, um, you know, we've sold 1 million tickets this week. Um, I might send a reply saying, yeah, but how many of those million people who were buying your tickets are still stuck at the airport because you've cancelled all your flights? I love trolling them. But that little bit of needling, that little bit of fun is fine as long as you don't
Mm.
cross that line into being unprofessional and ranting about them and um,
Yeah.
just going completely off brand and looking like a fool on social media because that's what being unprofessional does. And I think that's why
Yeah.
it's really important to stay professional, to stay on brand, to keep that same brand message across all your platforms constantly.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, very helpful, very insightful. I think that's for many people also a big challenge in the beginning, maybe when they start out, or can be a lot, can be confusing if you don't know exactly where you want to go with your brand,
Yeah,
or when you're still trying to find your voice, like you said in the beginning. So I
it
think
is
when
really confusing. It's really hard at the beginning, and we've all been there. I think every single one of us who is successful at it at the moment, we've
mm,
been at that point where we've been going through that trial and error, where we've been making mistakes and we've learned from them, and um, you know, we've built our brands on the top of that. And I think if anyone is starting out right now, I think it's important for them to remember that as well, because it is really difficult. But we've all been there, we've all got through it, and we've all become successful despite that. And I think remembering that is really important, um, especially in social media. And I think as well, another tip I'd give to um, anyone just starting out in this is pick your platforms very carefully. Choose don't because I think a big mistake a lot of people make is trying to
sorry,
jump
I'm just
onto.
waiting at the screen.
Oh, hi. I think a big mistake everyone makes is trying to jump onto every single platform, and big brands
Oh
do
yeah.
this just as much as
Hmm.
bloggers just starting out. They think they have to be present on every platform, and they don't. Because not every niche is right for every platform. Not every
Yeah.
voice is right for every platform. So it'll take a little bit of trial and error, but find the platforms that work for you, where your audience are, where they'll engage with you. And don't waste your time on platforms that aren't working for you just because you think that you have to have a presence there. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the biggest example of that is me and Instagram. Everyone is on Instagram. Everyone thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread, and everyone thinks that they have to be on it. They don't. They really don't. I'm not, and I'm successful despite it. So, you know, because
You're really the
my
only person I know.
exactly, but that's the proof right there. You don't have to be on every platform just because
Yeah.
everyone else is going on it. Find the platforms that
I like
work for
it. It's a
you.
scary thought, but I like it.
Yeah. But that's the thing though. If you find the platforms that work for you, you can put
Mm.
more of your efforts into them, and then
Yeah.
you'll get a lot better results because of it. You know, if you're spreading your efforts far too thin on every single platform, you're going to be
Mm,
weaker across every single one of them, and it's not going to be as good, and you're not going to get as much engagement. So don't
yeah.
waste your time. It's too valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And actually, this is one of my most favorite tips. I always tell people, those who want to hear it, just yeah, focus on one platform at first, or one or two in the
Mm,
beginning, especially if you just start out, and become an authority there. And then maybe if you want and have the time to extend yourself on other platforms, you can always do that later on, and you can trust that others follow you then, once you have that, once you've reached that authority level. But yeah, I mean, it's so exhausting if you go on all the platforms and try from the start, try to become very successful on all of them. So yes, it's a very good point, and
exactly.
absolutely right. I mean, you don't have to be on all of them just because everyone else does it.
Exactly.
It's
And you know
yes.
and I think that's why one of the reasons why you see so many people jump on every platform right at the start and then try and build this huge audience as quickly as possible, and you know they'll
Yeah.
that's why you see a lot of fake followers. That's why you see a lot of followers who aren't engaged, you know, because they're just trying to get those numbers. And it's
Hmm.
you've got to remember it's not about that. It's about the conversation. It's about the engagement. And if you remember
Mm.
that, then I think it will take longer. It will take a lot of hard work, but you'll be a lot better off in the long run for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, this is great. Yeah, thank you so much. I think those who listened to you today and took notes, they've learned something, and
I hope so.
hopefully they apply. Yes, and well, thanks for taking your time. I don't have any more questions. Jean is the only one waving at us, so I don't think anyone else is asking something. So, from my side, I would say let's call it a day,
Yeah.
unless you want to add something else.
No, I just hope people found it useful.
Yes, absolutely. I'm positive. I think so. Thanks again, and have a great weekend,
Anytime.
and
And you too.
see
I'll
you
see you
next
soon.
week.
Bye.
Bye.